Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of Vivel Talks, where we are featuring our participants for Vivel events. And today we have Anastasia with you. How are you, Anastasia? Hi.
Hi, I'm very well. Thank you. How are you guys?
Doing great. How are you, Lars? Lars has been traveling a lot for the last couple of weeks. Where are you now?
Yes, I'm in Split, Croatia right now. So I traded actually a rainy week in Turkey, like to for a sunny time in Split, Croatia. So I can't complain. I mean, yesterday I played football in the sun. I was able to go already to the strip, so I cannot complain.
Oh my
Okay. I
God,
mean,
I'm
you're
so
making
jealous.
making up for the rainy days in Turkey because he was supposed to be there and just like, with the nice weather, and the weather was really nice the week before. But when he was there, all the everything was like canceled. It was like this huge storm in Turkey. So yeah, you can get some sunshine now.
For
Yeah,
sure.
How's the weather in Amsterdam, Anastasia?
I think it's as always, it's a little bit gray, and I've just been to
Okay.
Porto, and there I was also like super extremely unlucky because it was raining almost all the time. I had a small vacation there. Yeah, but I'm really looking forward to go to somewhere warm and to see more sun.
Okay, so the good news is, and this is for everyone who will join or considering to join our event in May. May is going to be the perfect season. May is really the perfect season in Turkey. It's not, it's not cold at all. It's warm. During the nights, it's kind of like getting chilly, but not that, like that chilly. But like during the day, you can just like enjoy the real spring and the nice weather, like with your t-shirts on. So it's going to be like the best time of the year by then. Okay, so thank you for being part of the community, and I would like to start the conversation talking about more about the Metasouls. I mean, what you are doing at Metasouls, and just what was the idea behind it as you started the business?
Yeah, the idea of Metasouls is more to onboard women into Web3 and also the other skills of the future. Let's put it like this.
Mhm,
And we do it via offline and online experiences. And one of the events, by the way, that we had last year, was organized here in the Netherlands. It was in Haarlem, and it was a big NFT, digital arts, better to say, exhibition that gathered a lot of beautiful women to showcase their work, but not only to showcase their work, but also to understand what is NFT, how it is working. It's important to understand that it's not only supposed to be related to art, but also has different
mhm,
ways to apply it, etc. So, but it was only one event and it was only one topic. Like the next event that we are planning is going to be related to totally different thing, which will be about digital fashion. Next one will
mhm.
be about AI. Next one will be about metaverse. And so, many different, I don't want to say hypey topics, but topics that right now raise a lot of interest. And our
Mhm.
objective is more to gather people around these topics and to guide them through the experiences and to showcase how they can apply the emerging technologies for themselves. So that's the one thing. And events is actually cool way to do it. But we also have an online platform where people can see all the educational materials. We're right now working on it, uh, podcasts, courses, whatever texts related to particular parts of Web3 and other skills of the future. So that was the idea behind Metasouls, and why we're concentrating on mostly women, because unfortunately, right now, women are not necessarily top of mind considered as expert in tech. And I think this is not fair. This is something that we want to change. That's why there are so many communities right now about like women in tech, empowering women in tech, etc. So that's what we do.
This is really great because I was checking your website too about the event and how you were empowering the women in Web3. And as you said, I mean, it's not really common for women to enter Web3. I mean, let alone let Web3 like technology. When we are looking at the technology startups, technology businesses, is mostly dominated by men. So what you're doing is really valuable for those women communities. But for your events, do we need? Is it only open to women, or can men just like join? Can men be your supporters?
No, we don't plan let men in. I'm joking, of course not. It's inspired by inspired by women, but inclusive for all. That's what we also say. But it's just more about giving the women the spotlight that they deserve. That's
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
The
I
stage,
did. Yeah,
the
I did a
women, the
quick
women
fact
get the
check before
stage.
asking this question, so I actually knew the answer, but
what
I was
worse.
just like, I wanted to make Lars a bit anxious about the answer. So, like, if he could attend,
Otherwise I stand outside. I wait till it's over. Like everybody, for everybody their own position. No, I mean, I think it's important to have a certain vision. Like when I mentor founders, I think the one thing I tell them is you need to do what gives you passion, what gives you drive. And I say, if you target everyone, you target no one. That's what I always say. And I think that if you're very specific about who you target and about who you want to present it to, and it gives you a lot of energy, then I think you're in the right place. And then you have a better chance of succeeding with your startup or your business. Because every time that you try to get everyone to be on board, you're actually not really speaking to anyone. So I think it's actually not a bad thing when you actually speak to something more specific.
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly. Totally agree.
And we have some founders also like watching us. Being a founder, what were the challenges? Because like this is relatively a new space. And what were the challenges that you've been facing? So if anyone is interested in, doing business in this space, what would you recommend them?
Uh, you mean Web3, right? Space.
Web3. Yeah.
I think that these challenges are quite common for like the early builders anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And these challenges are related mostly to, I would say, challenges associated with Web3. Right? It has always been there, but right now I don't know if you feel this, guys. It seems like it comes more and more to the surface, like. Privacy concerns, for example, because transactions on public blockchains are visible to everyone, and regulation and compliance is completely gray area. So it's even like it's not even evolving; it's being explored how to do that. That's why there is uncertainty for developers, for sponsors, investors. For example, like when we were trying to find sponsors for our event, these questions are also always on the table. Energy consumption is also something that's been discussed a lot. That many Web3 applications require a lot of energy. You know all these things, right? Because you're also in the space. Usability, by the way, is one of the obstacles, because there are so many people that have no idea what is Web3 and why it exists. But this is something that we are working on. Yeah, and this kind of concerns, this kind of challenges has always been there. But what gives me indeed energy is I'm corporate in the past, for example, and I see that so many brands and so many companies, and even the most conservative ones, are entering the space and starting their campaigns and investing a lot of money in Web3, because they do believe that this is the future. They do believe that their audience is there. That gives me also a lot of certainties that this is exactly the place to go. And my personal beliefs are related to totally borderless opportunities that Web3 offers. And there's also a beautiful ideology behind Web3 in general, that the power needs to be given to creators. This is something that makes me really like wake up every morning and thinking that I'm going the right way. So this talking about advice, what kind of advice? I think there are two things. It's important to be present in the community, because there are so there is so much fragmented information online that you cannot really find the super credible source that you can trust. You just need to talk to people. So that's why community
Mm-hmm.
is important. You know, that's why that's why it is important to build your own judgment, because nobody's an expert. This is so new. Everything is changing all the time. And there are external factors influencing Web3. So this I think emphasize.
And I love the fact that you talked about borderless, being borderless, because this is one of the concepts that we keep underlining as part of Vivel vision, because we want to, take the power of being borderless, take the power of being location independent, and just, use that power to empower the creators and also the remote workers. And that's why we came up with this idea to have Vivel. And as you were saying, I think this is a huge opportunity for the creators. And that's why we would like to also help the creator community by being part of Vivel to, exploit those opportunities where they can use Web3 to, empower their business, empower themselves, and being like, the solopreneurs and being creators to make it more available to larger crowds. Lars,
Yeah.
you want to say something?
I think that in business we always had business stacks or tech stacks or things that we do or like use to be able to empower ourselves. But why is there not a life stack? Like I think that Vivel for me is like you get the tools and abilities and network to be able to create a life stack. What I mean by that is like learn about real estate, learn about insurance, learn about how you can move to different countries, learn about how visas work, learn about how technology works, learn about how you can set up your team this way, how you can scale your team this way. And I think that when you empower people to have a life stack, they see work as secondary and it's something that is more a result of life rather than we work to live. And I think that that's one of the things that I feel like you can only experience if you take the leap. So I believe that Vivel is going to be like a stepping stone or like a first entrance point to not thinking about it too much out of a work first perspective, but think about it from a life first perspective. When you build a
Mm-hmm.
relationship with someone first, you can actually start going deeper. And then the moment that you actually share what you do for work, there is already a connection established. I think that events miss the mark on that so much. Like any event I go to, they don't think about these things as much. I think retreats are the only style event that cares about that. And that's why I want to bridge that feeling of it's not all about work. It's something that comes as a result of you being a good person, you having your life in order and learning all these things. That's why educational platforms for Web3 are important. That's why education for how you can move to a different country might be important. Like people don't know the benefits and upsides to these things sometimes. So I think for me, when I listen to, Anastasia, but also Mine, because Mine is more on like the location independent and remote work side, it's so important that we empower people to do these things, but not necessarily for their work. It's also for yourself as a person, like to learn and to do it in your own time to really take yourself to the next level. So that's why I feel proud to bring those people together that have these mentalities and have this ability to teach and empower others to do the same thing that they are doing.
So, I mean, you really beautifully explained what's the thought, the idea behind Vivel Vision. And I would like to ask Anastasia, how did that resonate with you when first you heard about Vivel?
Oh, that's actually a very good question, because for me, it's more about the combination of things that Vivo brings.
Mm-hmm.
It literally unites three my favorite things, which is travel, specifically to the places I've never been, which is one of them is Cappadocia, and I've always been dreaming to get there at some point, not necessarily related to work, but just for fun, at least. Second is Web3 as my passion and work, and then mindfulness, which is not necessarily typical for this kind of events, but as a part of a program that triggered me a lot. And music, yeah, music of course is something that inspires, and this is a big part of my life. So the combination of all these things
Mm-hmm.
triggered me, and I think it's a great idea to bring together these concepts.
Mm-hmm. And that's why we were just like, because this, I mean, the idea, the concept that we came up with was rooted to our own pain that we have been experiencing when we were attending the events. Because, like, it's either like I'll be attending two more events in the next 1 month, and it's usually either like the conference part, and where we are just like spending time. And the thing is, when you go to a conference, it's either you have to put a couple of days pre to the event or post the event so that you get to see the city, because otherwise if you don't have that time, you don't even experience the city, you don't even experience culture, you don't just like get immersed in that culture. So one of the most important things that we are doing when we are designing is so that people can experience the culture when they're in those places as well. So having said that, I'd like to ask you another question about being part of a Vivel community. How do you envision this community to evolve in time?
Good question. Also, because there is the opportunity to retreat, as Lars mentioned. Retreats, well, also from my mindfulness related life, is always for building meaningful connections. So, for example, I think it can end in different ways. So, for example, some people are going to maybe meet friends, right? Because you interact
Mm-hmm.
more than 2 hours, let's say. Some people can uh, meet their founders. Maybe they're looking for founders. Maybe they're looking for employees. Maybe they look for, I don't know, partners, whatever. And this is something that can last longer. Like maybe there will be opportunities to communicate after the event. As I can understand, you want to build a series of events so when people can come back and talk again. So I think the evolution is about meaningful connections, evolution of this kind of concept.
Yeah. And like another element that I think that not everyone knows, I try to emphasize it in these talks every single time, because every person that comes or decides to contribute or co-create with us, they have their own unique take and vision on what they want to do in this world, and it's never the same as what ours is. There's overlaps and there's intersections, but it's never exactly the same. So what we believe is that inside of an ecosystem, you have segmented groups that are going to have slightly different interest or more focused interest. And I think that when we create event calendars for the future, it's not about organizing Vivel events all the time. We want to be almost the signature event, the end of May, that everybody knows, the end of May, this is what we're going to be doing. But every other week of the year, we can actually elevate the people inside of our ecosystem to create these segmented events. So if you do an event that is targeted more for women and education around women, and maybe males that want to support that or live in the geographical area near to where you are, they can support and come together and meet each other again. So maybe the first point of contact was at Vivel, but we want them to continuously meet up, because we have a very digital space, right? Where we can communicate, we can do these calls, we can do podcasts, we can do group chats, like all these things are possible, but we also want to keep that in-person connection going. And I don't think that we have the capability to organize 50 events a year, but our community can organize 49 events and we can do one. And now we're solving the problem. And it's not just that we benefit from that, everybody benefits from that. And I think that that's the future for me about collaboration over competition. I think that any event, like Mina and I have many discussions where we want to partner with other remote work events or other Web3 events, and they see it as competition because they're not in the mentality yet that if you don't do the event at the same time, it's not competition. It's actually stimulation of the same audience. And I think that that's a mindset that I think can change people's behavior of how they do business. And I think that for me is the future of the evolving of this ecosystem.
And
Sounds
I mean,
great.
yeah, I mean, like this is, and we are like in when we are talking with Lars, we keep on saying that this is now the era of co-creation. So, and we want our participants to co-create this experience as well. So we are not the the creators of this event, but we are all the participants. The whole Vivel community is going to be co-creating the experience. And throughout the year, it's not going to be only about one event itself, but as Lars mentioned, it's going to be about like everyone else's events or initiatives that we are going to be interacting with. And so, Anastasia, again, coming back to you, what do you expect to live in this experience? What is your idea? What's your dream of being part of this event?
I think what I expect is qualitative networking. I expect just like a great time because the locations are amazing and the program is very inspiring because I think as I mentioned, the combination and rotation of experiences is the key. So I really expect to be meet entrepreneurs and aspiring people to also get acquainted to their dreams because we are all chasing a dream and indeed maybe to find friends. That's my expectations.
Great. That was our dream too. So we are going after our dream as well. And one last question before we wrap up. How do you see the both communities, remote work community and the Web3 community, being together and helping each other to expand more in their respective areas?
Well, I think the notion of Web3 and remote work, in definition of it, are similar in a way because they're based on decentralization, sort of, right?
Mm,
Ideology. So I believe that remote work is something that people are going to do more in the future because the numbers are raising since pandemic, and also people tasted this freedom, and I think that's great because before that they didn't even challenge that they don't have to go to the office or like you know what I mean. So this is a little bit. Um, I cannot say revolution, but it's definitely evolution in people's
mhm.
perception that you can have more freedom and enjoy more what you do and earn more what you comparing to what you used to earn before. And yeah, I think these are the aspects that you can observe in both remote work and Web3. So even if you combine the two, it will be well. For me, it's ideally the evolution of work in general, but there are so many people that don't really understand it yet. It's so important to explain them these borderless opportunities that you mentioned. So yeah.
Exactly, about being borders. And Lars, do you want to add anything for
I don't know
these
if
communities?
it's more add. I think it's more of like respond. I think that it's a beautiful vision. I think like a borderless slash decentralized world. I do think that it comes with a lot of challenges, similar to the challenges that Anastasia has as a founder. I feel like the same way, and I think Mina probably has similar conversations when she talks about remote work with companies that are not in that mindset yet. And I think that that's a little bit what you have to do, but you cannot change someone's behavior. You can only plant the seed. So the reason why we do this is not because we believe that our way is the highway. I think we do this because we want you to experience something. So the way that you maybe join an event like this might be very different from how you leave it. And I think that that's the essence of what you do when you're trying to change people's minds. It's almost like they have to save themselves from that feeling of, okay, I am stuck. It's not something that we can do or teach necessarily. We can plant the seed, we can educate, we can do the surface level things, but the deeper work that comes from resonance with other people. And I think that the curation of the audience of something like this, or something that you're doing in the Netherlands, like I think that's the most important part of what we do. Is like, if we don't curate the audiences, then the chances of the seed actually coming and becoming a flower is a lot more difficult, because if you connect with people that still don't believe in it and you come there, it's going to lead to you kind of getting confirmation that it's not right. But if you create an audience where you might be the person that feels that way, but everyone else is more open to it, you're going to start expanding your horizon. So I think that that's something that we need to think of when we start these concepts. It's like, it's easy to go after the money and say everybody can come, Cappadocia is cool, go listen to this DJ and pay the money and see how cool you can be. Yeah, sure, that's an approach. Like, you can sell out easier, you can go do all the marketing and advertising, but do you really know who you're actually going to attract? I don't think it's accurate enough to be able to get people actually to that next stage of life. So for me, and I think that the people that I know are participating in Vivel, they are conscious about the choices that they make. They are not just showing up just to be cool. I think they show up because they really believe there's something there that they want to learn and grow in. So I think that that's maybe a side note onto what you're saying, is that curation is probably the most important part of all of this, that you cannot just allow everyone to come in, because not everyone might be ready. And that's why we do this for 10, 15 years to follow. So when the time is right for certain people, they can show up and take the leap whenever they feel ready. So Anastasia might be very early, so that means she is already in that mindset, right? It doesn't matter if you're not in that place. It's more about, does it resonate with you or not? If you feel it, you should take action. I think that rational thinking for these types of things is always going to lead to disappointment, because then you're going to look at every bullet point and think, this has to happen, this has to happen, this has to happen. But I think it's more about the connection that you build with the people that are there. So I think that we look at these things sometimes like one thing, but I think they're two completely separate concepts. And I think Vivel and I think Metasouls, they go more on feeling, and they go more on the ability to relate than they go on the fact that it has to have these particular bullet points.
And that's what people remember, by the way. The people remember about how they feel, about how they felt about things. So that's what we are aiming at. So we want to make sure that everyone walks away with that feeling of being transformed, being in a place where they have not been before. So that's, and being conscious. So if you want to join the Vival community in May, this is the link. So you can visit our website. You can see all the details. If you want to become an ambassador, that's an option too. So you will see the related link. So if you think that you would be a ambassador for Vivel, being related to either remote work or Web3 communities, please feel free to submit the form. Or if you want to buy a ticket and join the community now, because we already have a growing community. We have a Telegram group, we have private groups. So, I mean, if you act quick and grab your ticket, then you'll be part of the community. And if you are also thinking about partnering with us or like sponsoring us, being part of Vivel in any ways, we are open to suggestions. So please feel free to reach to me or Lars on either LinkedIn or on our website. And it was really great talking to you, Anastasia, and getting that, perspective from an organizer point of view, because you're also organizing events with the same mindset. So it was really beautiful to have you in this talk. Do you want to add anything else?
Well, thank you so much. And I'm very excited about the event indeed, because it's an unusual format. I would like to test it and then see how it goes. Very curious also. Thank you so much for having me. That was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Lars, do you want to add anything?
No, I think we covered a lot of great things today, and I'm very excited for it as well. It starts to creep up in your stomach, the feeling, 2 months or so out. It's like it starts to really feel very close. So yeah, I really recommend anyone that's listening, if you feel that it's right, yeah, you can always reach out too. If you're not exactly 100% sure, you want to know more, feel free to reach out to us. Like, I think that this is a place where you want to really feel safe and feel like you're making a good decision. Then I think, it's okay to reach out and to ask further questions if you need that. So I would just say that's the last thing. And if you're interested in, and maybe you want to learn more about Web3 and onboarding, then I think sending us this Anastasia message might also be a good idea. So again, we're open to having these conversations. So if you have anything, let us know. And yeah, I appreciate you coming here today, Anastasia.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Next week, we'll be hosting Rovina Hennigan on Vivel Talks. So stay tuned. We'll be here on every Wednesday. And take care. Bye.
Bye.